evening, folk. Good evening, gorgeous. Let's have a little flick around so that I can be more visible. Good evening, gorgeous, gorgeous human beings. Thank you for joining me for this extra special masterclass, which I'm hosting the weekend, the night before bank holiday weekend. Like, who is looking forward to Easter? Please say hello. Let me know who is joining us this evening and from where you're joining. I'm broadcasting out to Facebook groups and also YouTube as well. So do say hello. Do let us know where you are broadcasting, where you're joining us from. Hi, Laura. Hi, Anne. Hey, Karen. Good. The comments are working. I want to try and make this as interactive as possible because it's always way more fun when we're having a bit of a two-way dialogue. I also want to keep time really tight tonight. I am the queen of over talking when I get excited and I've got a video camera on. Karen, all the way from Florida. Whoop, 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 whoop. Going global, baby. So I'm really conscious of the time. I know it's the start of bank holiday weekend and I know that your time is your most precious resource. So I am setting myself a challenge to do this in 60 seconds. 60 seconds, that would be a challenge. 60 minutes this evening. And I've had a bit of a technical hitch. StreamYard has completely improved its functionality so that I can broadcast in multiple areas. I can also see the comments. You know, this is like a real breakthrough for this piece of software that I use. However, when I went to upload the presentation, it didn't like the files. And so I've had a little minor panic. Hence, there's some pictures missing and some things, but we just roll with it. Everything is figure outable. So I've split the presentation into two halves. So there's going to be a slight interval. Won't be coming around with ice creams or anything, but there'll be a little pause while I shuffle around with some slides. I found a solution and we are just going to roll with it. Karen, I am not surprised. It sounds like a dream holiday in Florida. So, my loves, I know there's been many people that want to join the masterclass this evening, but they're away, etc. And like Karen, who's dialing in from holiday. So this will be available on replay also. So if you're watching on replay, do share your comments. Do email me. Do let me know what comes up for you as we work through this evening. The 3 myths that I see in my community and I have experienced myself that blocks particularly women, but this applies to all genders, anybody who is wanting and desiring and feeling that they want to have some kind of career change, but they are blockers putting in the way. They're putting themselves, limiting beliefs in the way of taking action. So we're going to break down some of these limiting beliefs, and they're very, very close to my heart because I once upon a time was very blocked too, as you will learn from this evening's little storytelling session. So thank you for joining me. We're going to join right in, dive right in. Words are difficult for me this evening. It's been quite a week. It's supposed to be a gorgeous picture of me in that circle there, prancing around in the sea. But we're going to get cracking anyway, aesthetics aside. So I just want to reassure you and let you know you're in the right place if you are curious about what goes on in the coaching world. If you've got a bit of an inkling that you'd really like to know more about what goes on in the wellness world and the personal growth world because it's something that fascinates you, then I'm going to be revealing all this evening. If you're a heart-centered, talented, resourceful person, you're definitely in the right place. But like most humans, you have got some kind of negative narrative, which sometimes, or maybe always, gets in the way of you pursuing your fullest potential or your big dreams. Maybe you're already involved in the industry and you're watching other people's coaching businesses absolutely boom. The coaching industry is having its heyday right now. Once upon a time, the world's biggest industry used to be the oil industry. Now it's the data industry, and actually the personal development and growth and personal growth coaching industry is in absolute hyper growth. It's never seen such incredible times. There are an absolute explosion in demand and explosion in need, I do feel as well. So you're watching people around you achieve great success in the coaching industry. And maybe you're getting a little bit of envy. Maybe you're getting a little bit of comparison. Maybe you're getting a little bit of, oh, wouldn't it be nice if kind of feelings. Now, if you're the kind of person that's seeking more emotional freedom, more financial freedom, more lifestyle freedom, then please hang on right to the end, because I'm going to take you through the 3 myths. And at the end, there's an invitation for you to consider joining my More Than Enough Training Academy, which I will be telling you more about. I want to be very transparent that that is the order of proceedings this evening. Loads of value. I really want to show you the problems that I've come up against in my 12-year career and how I've overcome them. And then talk to you about the solution that I have created bespokely to fit these myths and mistakes that I've noticed all the time in the community. So hang in there to the end, of course. Now, if you're the kind of person as well that wants to do work that makes you feel good while doing good, like the feel good, do good is a hashtag that I just love, because wouldn't it be wonderful if you could be paid well for work that truly you love and makes a massive impact in the world? Oh yes, let me tell you, it really is a nice, I don't know if I like that word. It really is a very exciting time to be involved in the coaching industry. So let's dive in then to what I am going to deliver here this very evening for you. And that is, I want to give you confidence to know that you are good enough to join the coaching industry if you're not already involved. The offer that I am going to lay out at the end, the invitation for those of you that aren't already signed up to the Training Academy experience for the class of 2022, very exciting times. I know that Karen, Catherine and Sharon are all joining this journey with me. Woohoo! Oh, you're training Bear Young. I'm loving that. Welcome, Bear, our youngest viewer this evening. And what a very cool name also. So the promise that I am offering is how to access your own emotional freedom. Like, you cannot go for a transformational experience like the offer that I have at the end without going through a deep personal transformational experience yourself. I want to offer you lifestyle freedom. It's one of my biggest drivers. My biggest value is having more freedom in my life, and I want to be able to be free to work from wherever. I had a taste of that, as you'll learn in a little bit of my storytelling. But I also want to offer, particularly women and anybody who's in a marginalized situation, the opportunity to take control, to move away from the industrial revolution's ideas about being paid by the hour and start taking control of your financial future. It's such an important topic for women, and I'm generalizing when I'm talking about women, but the pay gap, the gender pay gap, is just a ginormous issue, and the redistribution of wealth is something that I'm incredibly passionate about. And I really feel like this is a vehicle for women in particular, or anybody who's in marginalized groups, to really begin to take more control over their financial future. So I've got a great little offer for you coming up. But first, let me tell you a little bit about my story. Those of you that don't know, those of you that haven't been in my community for a long time, I once upon a time found myself locked in this situation that I now call the library of not enoughness. I had these desires. I knew that I wanted more. I was watching my peers all build their coaching businesses, and I was a hypnobirthing teacher at the time, feeling very overwhelmed but underwhelmed at the same time. I know it's a bit of a dichotomy, but that was the position I found myself in. I was very, very busy but very unfulfilled. I had 3 children. I was very much the caregiver to those children. I'd given up my corporate career, and I knew I had more within me that I wanted to give back. I had a small business that wasn't fulfilling me nor delivering me the profit that I desired as well. So I created this prison almost of all of these excuses why I wasn't good enough to do all the things that I saw others doing in the industry. And I got myself stuck in that state for many a years. I just didn't have the self-belief or the confidence to take the steps that were required to start the business that you see today. It took me a little while to build that confidence. And now, currently, I'm working towards creating the worldwide More Than Enough movement of 1,000 women overflowing with enoughness. My vision is to have a more than enough practitioner, more than a facilitator and coach in every single town across the globe, reactivating the enoughness in every human in the planet. Like, it's a big vision, and whether I will be around to see that legacy come to life, or whether it's work that I'm starting and we pass down for generations to come, who knows? But it's certainly what gets me out of bed with a bounce in the morning. So how did I escape this prison, this library of excuses, this prison of not enoughness? It really came to me in one of those rare, quiet moments where I had this list of excuses, this negative narrative just running through my mind. And one day, from nowhere, I decided to challenge it. And I decided to say to myself, what if this inner critical voice is wrong? What if this negative thinking really isn't me? And so I started to question those negative narrative every time it came up. And that's what I did differently. Once I realized that I could interfere with the mindset and I could recode and rewire those patterns of not enoughness in my subconscious mind, that's when everything shifted and changed for me. I started to study, I started to invest, I started to really do my own inner work. And now, years later, I am reaping the rewards from the lifestyle that I've created that is just full of freedom in every area. So if one woman can, any woman can. It's whether we have the desire. And I'm using the term women just because of the generalization. There are many women in my community, but this is an offer. This is a masterclass for every human on this planet. So a little more, a bit deeper around my story. Just so you've got a bit of background and understand where I've come from and where I'm at today. Once upon a time, pre-children, in my previous life, BC, before kids, I had a incredibly successful career working for the world's biggest brand. Worked my way up through the ranks, promotion after promotion, to finally become a junior manager just before the birth of my third child. And after I had my third baby, it became what's the right word? It became very difficult with 3 children under 4 to continue with a corporate career. Not very viable is probably the right word. And so I decided to take my hobby of being a hypnobirthing practitioner now into a business. From there, that led to me organising many pregnancy events, which then led into me retraining to be a hypnotherapist and psychotherapist, which then led on to a Rest Fest, my women's wellness festival, where we've held 4 festivals for over 2,000 people now. And that has been a very deep, long life lesson. Back in 2019, this is my family here. We took 4 months out to go Greek island hopping on a hope and a prayer, without much money in the bank, without everything laid out. It was a real test of leap and the net shall appear. We had an absolutely glorious 4 months. My now ex-husband, almost, we are now separated, came home after the first couple of months, and I continued to travel with my 3 children for the final month. And that was the most empowering experience of my life, to really begin to build up an incredible level of self-confidence. Just a little side note on here, my husband and I separated in October, and it's been an incredibly positive uncoupling. We've both managed it very positively and very maturely. It was a very mutual decision, which obviously feeds into us being able to deal with that in a very mature, positive way. But I really credit all of the inner work that I have been doing in the years leading up to that, to enable me to have that emotional freedom, to be able to transcend above some very high arousing experiences, highly emotive experiences, very arousing for the nervous system, to be able to work through what could have been a really challenging situation with as much grace and ease as I can muster. It hasn't always been easy. There's definitely been moments, but I'm very proud of the way that both of us as adults have handled the situation. We're now 6 months separated, and co-parenting, just moved to a co-parenting model a fortnight ago, and it's all feeling really good and full of freedom. All of the work that I do is very much based around events. I love bringing people together. Over the course of my now 12-year career of being self-employed, I've lost count of the number of events. I've lost count of the number of people. But last time I counted it, which was a few years ago, it was around 7,000 people had been through the doors of my events. Like, I love bringing people together online, and I love bringing people together via events as well. And that's where I think what you will learn, the More Than Enough method, is really magical, because it can be applied to in real life or online as well, and both have great benefits. So that's a little bit about me. Thank you. Yeah, it's a great little vision board, isn't it? This is a historic board. Was my old vision as well. So moving forwards, then, I've given you a whistle stop tour of kind of my career, my self-employed career. It's taken me, 10 years out of the 12 to finally crack the code, as such, to finally actually replace my salary, my corporate salary. It took me a very long time, a lot of mistakes, a lot of trial and error to get to where I am. And one of those mistakes was trying to figure everything out by myself. I was determined that I could just figure this out. And what that did has been hugely costly, because for the time and the financial impact of trying to figure it all out by myself has been ginormous, and probably was one of the levers to my marriage uncoupling, because of the stress that caused. And so some of the solutions I'm going to talk about later on, I really hope to smooth out some of those bumps in the road that can take place when you are a new entrepreneur. So what have I learned over the last 12 years, and what things have got me through this process to be resilient, and despite being knocked down multiple times and huge, ginormous financial setbacks because of the pandemic, to keep on going, is the development of my inner confidence, to know that I can now fully trust that everything is figure outable. It's one of my catchphrases. Having tits of steel, like just being really prepared to put my money where my mouth is, to walk my walk, to do things that other people haven't been prepared to do. I've really learned how to put boundaries in place to protect my time and energy. Once upon a time, I just gave everything away in a real effort to prove my self-worth. I'm much more aware about how to communicate in relationships and have a compassionate relationship now. I'm a recovering people pleaser, and I really do believe anything's possible. And I always work with my own personal coach. I mean, that's just the key lesson now. As soon as I started investing in having a coach, oh my God, my business like accelerated exponentially. And I wish I'd done it sooner. But hindsight, live and learn, right? So a little bit about me. Once upon a time, what my ex used to call stress fest, rest fest, the very expensive hobby. Yeah, it's definitely cost me more money, that business venture, than I will ever make from it. But there's been an incredible amount of learning. Because of the pandemic, I really had to think about the way that I worked. And so I went back to my roots, which was therapy and providing some conscious transformation. And the More Than Enough method was born at the start of the pandemic, so that I could work online. And I'm very, very proud that we're now moving into our 6th round of More Than Enough in June. We've taken over 100 people through that program it's almost 2 years now. Now we have the Training Academy, which teaches other people how to teach the More Than Enough method. And I am well on track for growing my first 6 figures, or breaking through my first 6-figure barrier over the coming months as well, which will be a real business milestone, something that's talked about a lot in the coaching industry. But I'm very excited to be in a position to celebrate that. So yeah, big stuff happens when we flip the script on that negative narrative, which is what the More Than Enough method is all about. So before we dive into the 3 myths and we get to explore all of those, let's look at why now is the absolute, there has never been a better time for change work. Anyone that's been following my social media this week will see I've been talking all about how to recognize that you're ready for change, the emotional biochemical signals that are trying to get your attention. And now is the perfect time for change work. Now we have come out of this 2 years of fear, scarcity, worry, stress, restrictions. Like our life has just been so different. I mean, it does feel a bit like a distant memory now. But what that has done to our nervous systems, what that has done to the subconscious brain, is really, really challenge us on a level that our generation has never been challenged in before. And so the brain at the moment is very, very malleable. It's very plastic because it's had to be so adaptable. So now is the time to implement change, to take advantage of this very rare situation where the brain wants to change. I think if you're talking to many people like I do, I love a good chat, that there is a real appetite right now for people who have done a lot of reassessment over working from home during isolation, being away from the normal distractions of modern living. And people want a different lifestyle now. People have recognized the benefits of having more freedom in the way that they work. There's a massive departure from employment as people move into more self-employment and being in charge of their own destiny. And that is because we recognize the benefits, the flexibility and the freedom that offers. So now is a really good time for anybody thinking about change, but whether that's on a one-on-one level or whether that's a career change or a lifestyle change. It's a really, really perfect time from a neuroscientifically point of view to undergo and to embark on change. So let's dive in. Come on, 20 minutes in, Naomi. We can do this. We can do this. You can put your odds on, your bets on, if you like, and see if I can actually do it in 60 minutes. Oh, thank you, Sharon. How many times you hear my story, it always inspires you. Thank you. Thank you. It's very kind of you to say. Pray it stays an old memory. Yeah, everybody's reassessing. Thank you, Sharon. Feel like we're a bit behind in the UK, so now definitely is the time. Absolutely. There's so much opportunity being laid out in front of us, full of freedom. So let's explore these 3 confidence myths. That's what you are all here for. So let's look at what I see blocking others from taking the leap into creating a career that their soul is calling out for, that little inkling that there's something more for you. But we put all these blockers, all these stories, all this meaning that the mind makes in the way of us trusting our hearts and our guts. So the first myth that I think keeps many people stuck is when they look into the coaching industry, they see all these magical unicorns, I call them, because, very rare, absolutely beautiful, glorious, mysterious. It all feels like it's shrouded a little bit in mysticism and magic. How do people go about these beautiful lifestyles where they seem to be traveling and earning mega bucks and just looking like they're living the glamorous dream all the time? And that can be very unrealistic for the average, ordinary person. And I know that myself, because when I looked out into the coaching industry, I thought that it was too crowded for somebody like me. I thought that you had to be this kind of shiny pop star looking ex soap star wordsmith that had all of these talents and skills. And I was really, really, really got myself stuck in putting people on pedestals, basically looking out to people that I admired, looking out to my heroes. Like, I'm obsessed by the personal development world. Some people love Netflix. I will be watching YouTube videos and podcasts and reading an audiobook. So I've been following this world for a long time, and it was a real desire of mine to be a motivational speaker, to be a leader, but I just could not take the leap for so long because I was putting everybody else up on a pedestal and making them look as if they were more worthy than I. I was really over glamorizing what I believed the coaching industry to be. But what I've recognized over time now is that actually their social media feeds, of course, they feel very, what's the right word? Not transparent. They feel very unrealistic because that is their lifestyle. And that's they are projecting their highlights because it's their business. And we don't see what goes on behind the scenes in these very glamorous coaches' lives. And what I have noticed is that for many ordinary people, and this is, I'm kind of stopping myself from jumping ahead, the untapped opportunity exists with ordinary women wanting to live extraordinary lives. And when we look at people like Gabby Bernstein, Maria Forleo, Reagan Hillier, and we look, it just doesn't feel very tangible or relatable to their lifestyles, to our lifestyles. And we end up doing this thing where we make up stories about them, and you might recognize this in yourself. Well, it's all right for her because, you know, she's an ex soap star. Well, it's all right for her because, you know, she looks like a supermodel, and so all of her pictures are always going to look absolutely amazing. It's all right for her. She must have a really rich husband that can support her coaching career. But it's all right for her because, and so we do what I call the all right for her isms, and we make up all these stories. We have got no idea, but we make up all of these stories, don't we? To back up our not enoughness beliefs, that we aren't as good as them, we aren't as worthy as them. And so we do this thing where we're comparing their finished novel to our first chapter, or sometimes they haven't even started writing the book yet. And so just being able to get perspective and recognize that the untapped opportunity that I have managed to uncover is that what people really want is just someone who's a few steps ahead of them. They're not looking for the finished article because that is too far away for them to believe that that kind of transformation is available for them. They want somebody who's got a real story. They want somebody who's only a few steps ahead of them, so it feels like they can reach out to them. And one of my visions for the More Than Enough revolution, the More Than Enough global revolution, global movement, is that everybody has, you know, somebody that's just a few steps ahead of them, like a chain of paper dolls, like this image, somebody that's just a few steps ahead of them, and somebody that they're helping up that's a few steps behind them. And we just form this community of sharing experiences, beliefs, stories, techniques, all helping each other along as a community. So I think that's what's possible when we break down this kind of super guru-dom that exists when we look at the very shiny, polished, very successful coaches and motivational speakers out there. And we bring it back down to grassroots level. You know, that's what RestFest is about. I know many of you are fans of RestFest. My festival was all about local experts because we're just surrounded by such gorgeous, resourceful, talented people. Anyhow, I digress. Back to the slides. So again, one of the things that held me back was a belief that I wasn't smart enough, that I wasn't qualified enough, that I wasn't wordy enough, that I wasn't able to talk as eloquently as maybe some other coaches that had a lot more experience than myself. And then it transpired, once I actually got started and teaching my More Than Enough method, that people loved the way that I explained complex stuff. So what I believed was a flaw actually became my superpower. And as Claudine says here, Claudine is a massive part of the More Than Enough movement now. But the Facilitators Academy that I'm going to talk to you about at the end is taking her to the next level. Having been through the More Than Enough method herself twice and then becoming part of the team, I have truly felt and witnessed the magic firsthand, so much so she wanted to bring the approach into her existing self-worth and body confidence coaching work. The More Than Enough Training Academy has enabled her to understand, amongst other things, why the subconscious mindset shift is the most sustainable kind of personal change that you can undertake, and how to incorporate the world of that into the world of body image and blue health, which means being by the sea, coaching by open expanses of water. Like, absolutely, Claudine is a goddess. Check out her work. I'm truly honoured to have her part of the movement. She brings and adds a lot of value and transformations herself into our space. So the Training Academy isn't just for people who have no coaching experience. Even if you do have experience in different areas, there's definitely a space for you in the More Than Enough movement. So thank you for Claudine for that beautiful testimonial, because absolutely what we perceive to be our flaws could actually be our superpowers, is the message that I'd like to get across there. So myth number 2, and hello Facebook user, whoever's hopped on with saying Claudine is a body mindset goddess, you are correct, but I'd love to know who you are. Please give StreamYard permission to see your name. There's a little link above. And welcome. Claudine is amazing. We're all in the Claudine fan club here. So myth number 2 is, I've already touched on this because this was a big part of my story, is the not good enough itis, I call it. So when we don't feel good enough, we have a belief system that's been conditioned into us by environments, by parents, by people with authority, via education, in those really formative years. And sometimes it can just be one thing that one person says one time, and we create a story in our subconscious mind, which is 96% of our mind's power, but all buried deep beneath the surface. If we imagine an iceberg analogy, below the surface is the subconscious, and that's where autopilots and patterns are all stored. And if we have a pattern of not feeling good enough, then that is our familiar state of being. So we play into that belief with confirmation bias, and therefore our behaviors are the outcome of those beliefs. And when we believe that we're not good enough, we want to stay safe. We want to stay small. We want to stay familiar. So we believe this myth because unless we've got an incredibly developed self-awareness, we think that that is the truth. We think that that is the narrative of our life. Like, who am I to? I'm not good enough to. Look at all the other people too. The subconscious mind will make up a very interesting, very compelling narrative to keep you in a place of familiarity, because that's its job. It wants to keep you safe, small, and familiar, using the patterns it's already created. Whether they're helpful patterns or unhelpful patterns, it will continue to use those. So when you try to break free and do something different, it puts out a massive smear campaign. And those thoughts and that narrative very rarely are actually evidence-based. They're all storytellings, they're all meaning makings. And so that's a big part of what we do in the More Than Enough method, is really help our clients and our community to understand that narrative, to interrupt those patterns and create new blueprints in the subconscious for the future, the potential, the outcomes, the behaviors, the habits that they do want, rather than the things that don't serve them anymore. Oh, Victoria Graham, gorgeous. Thanks for joining us, Victoria. So that's why we believe this myth that we are not good enough. But truly, when we reprogram this at the level of the subconscious, and the mistake that people make, let me just explain that, is that they try to do this work from the conscious mind. Conscious mind is only 4%. So they might use talking therapies, they might use podcasts and books and journaling. This is all in the conscious mind. We're having to really use the power of dopamine and willpower to work from the conscious mind. When we start accessing the subconscious mind and rewiring and recoding there, the results become less effort driven, because they become automatic over time. It's a big conversation, but I just wanted to drop that in there for us to just sow some seeds for thought. But that's why so many people struggle with their not enoughness, because they're tackling it from the conscious mind rather than the deep ingrained patterns that are in the subconscious mind. So this is why people believe the myth. You'll see where I very hastily was trying to edit my slides here because I'm noticing some typos, but it's all good. It's all good. We're here broadcasting in a very good enough style this evening. And so when people believe that that narrative in their subconscious is the truth, they stay stuck, they stay safe, they stay familiar, they stay bored, they stay unfulfilled, they stay in comparison mode, they stay in denial that anything more exciting or abundant is available for them, because that's the narrative that's running at the subconscious. When we get to change that, we get to access all levels of different kinds of freedom, different kinds of opportunities. Like when we really retrain something that's called the reticular activating system, we start to look at the world through an entirely different lens, and we become much more opportunity focused rather than fear focused. We begin to make decisions based from love rather than fear. And that just creates an incredible level of liberation in whichever area of your life that you might be seeking that. So gorgeous Claire, you may be familiar with Claire and her work in Waking Up for Autism. Claire was right the way back on our very first round of More Than Enough, gave her the confidence to really go after her business. She then worked with me to help her get her business up and running and develop her own courses. And then she joined More Than Enough Facilitators course. And as you can read there from Claire's very own words, I won't read out the slide because you guys can read. I'm very assured of that. That's a very heartfelt testimonial about the support and the knowledge that Claire gained through the training academy. And she's right. Every town, school and workplace should have a More Than Enough coach in it. There is so much need, so much demand when we look at just the shocking rise in mental health challenges, especially in young people at the moment. So Claire's doing incredible work with waking up to autism, like really found her feet, really found her confidence to go for that after she went through the More Than Enough method. So thank you, Claire, for that gorgeous testimonial. Now, this is where I'm going to swap slides. This is my genius idea to break the presentation into 2 parts when it told me it was way too big. And that was slick and easy, wasn't it? Oh, feeling proud of myself there. Okay, so does anyone relate to the myths so far? Has anyone else had those feelings? Oh, here we go, Sharon. You can really resonate. Let's just put up Sharon's here so that people see. Really resonate with this. I've held so much knowledge for so long, but got stuck in the world of comparison with these unreal images and just could not get your head around it being there. More Than Enough has helped you work through this. Yes, Sharon, yes, it has. And that's why I can't wait to help join the revolution and take it into the wider world, especially into education. Absolutely. So much need for it. So much need. How do I click this off? Hold on a tick. There we go. Thank you for that, Sharon. That's a very valued comment there. And certainly there's a lot of need for it to have a more brain-based, psychology-based, evidence-based approach to be able to coach children and support children and teens and adults in many different industries, in many different spaces and places. The whole new approach, a whole new paradigm is required. We've been through this turbulent time. We've had a real sense of uncertainty. And now we can get a taste of what it's like to design the life on our own terms and start really changing the narratives and the paradigms that don't serve us in 2022. So much of our life is very outdated. I digress again. Stick to the time, Naomi. So myth number 3, and again, this is something I personally relate to myself, is the not enough resources trap. So I don't have enough time, I don't have enough money, I don't have enough qualifications, I don't have enough support. These are all excuses because there will never be a time that feels right. That's the truth of it. Like, it will always feel like a big leap, but we postpone our potentiality of creating this career. For me, for years and years and years and years, staying stuck and playing small, safe, familiar, hiding behind the curtains of my festival because I didn't want to take center stage. It's years of telling myself that I had to have this first, I needed to have this, and really trying to overanalyze and overplan things. But we're led to believe this myth because it's the way that we've been taught, that our logical, rational minds, that 4% of our consciousness, needs to figure things out. But what we know now is that actually our lives are, there's communication coming from every different area of us, our hearts, our guts, that really override rational, logical thinking if we allow it. And we can really tap more into our potentiality if we get out of the busy 4% conscious mind. That 4% conscious mind will be based on logic, reasoning, cognitive thinking. But that is such a small part of us being human, and we give that part of the brain too much credit for being the boss of us all. And actually, our gut has incredible intelligence. Our heart has many millions of receptor sites as well that are trying to communicate. We're a full human being. So when we start to lean into trust and step away from the need to have it all figured out before we begin to take steps towards whatever career change or lifestyle change it might be, it's not necessarily this is only applicable to the coaching industry. This applies to all kind of change work. We feel like we need to have all our ducks in line. We need to have everything figured out. The accounting systems, the legals, the coaching, the finances, the budget, having a business plan. All of those things are just blockers. They're just excuses. And that narrative is coming from the subconscious mind again to tell you that you're not good enough, that you're not ready enough, because it's trying to keep you safe, small, and familiar. And we can waste years of our potentiality trying to figure all this stuff out. I work in a very interesting way. I know some people find it quite what's the word? Alternative. But I work on the premise that everything is figure outable. If I wouldn't be able to do all the incredible things that I've done in my life if I needed to have figured it all out first. Like it would have taken me years. I am the kind of person that now, over the past 4 or 5 years of really hitting the pinnacle of coming into myself and owning my power and doing all the inner work, I now trust that I can figure everything out, that I'm going to be okay. Whatever happens, I'm going to be okay. And I will figure out the solution. And I've done that because I've had an incredible support system of people really lending me their self-belief as well, really encouraging me, really noticing me and helping me out of that fear state and that comfort zone into my growth zone as well. Digressing again. Why people make this mistake. So people making the mistake of trying to figure it all out, because that's what we're taught at school. We're taught to have it all worked out, to have a plan for your career, to have a plan for how you're going to pay for your mortgage, to have a plan for your business. It's all been very cognitive led. But what we are missing out on is some of the magic of life, the abundance, the opportunities, the spontaneity, the freedom that I hope you're all seeking. That's why you're here, because you want more freedom in your life. And when we stop believing that we need to have it all figured out, it's actually a much more fun journey as well. We get so focused on end results, like this is where I want to be, that we forget to be in the present moment and enjoy the journey, the learning, the deep learning experience that we get to go on when we're doing this kind of work as well, because we're always racing to the end and we just don't take in the joy and appreciation of the magical moments that lead us to our desired outcome. Let's have a little look at what Sharon's got to say here. Third myth really resonates. It's gained so much knowledge and given away so much energy, is scared to ask for payment. Yeah, I see this so much about being as I was not seen as qualified. Again, I'm really pushing through this now with money mindset change and celebrating every achievement. Yes, Sharon. Yes. Now I think this one's Victoria. Been risk adverse all my life, been trapped by walls I've put up to keep me safe, and now I'm just smashing through them. Yes, you are, Victoria. I think that's you. Victoria is also part of the training academy and incredibly valued, offers so much value to our space. A real champion. And yeah, Catherine's relating as well, trapped by all of the things and broken through them and on my way up the mountain. See, it is possible. We've got an incredible community here who are doing the work, who are committed to saying yes, who are witnessing and feeling the results. Oh, Karen, it was you. Karen, thank you, Karen. Not Victoria, but Karen is joining the community too. What an exciting time. It's, I will really put a caveat in all of this. It's never easy, but it's always worth it. And sometimes it's easier than we make it out like it's going to be, but it is so worth it when we get the breakthroughs. It's so worth it when we get those glimmers of hopes, or those days where I just, many of my days, I wake up and have to almost pinch myself that this is my life now, because I have been very carefully co-creating it since my hypnotherapy course in 2017, and it's all now manifesting and manifesting and transpiring and coming into fruition. And I cannot tell you the buzz that gives you when you bounce out of bed in the morning and literally oh my god, this is it. Oh, I like that one, Catherine. I used to believe that you needed to build the plane before flying it. But now I think, no, that you can start flying it and then build the plane around you. Absolutely. I love that metaphor. Thank you. Right, let's get, the technology is working seamlessly now. It was was testing me at like 10 to 8. So gorgeous, gorgeous Kate. Again, another just massive part of the More Than Enough movement. Kate's been through the More Than Enough method herself. She really had to work through a lot of limiting beliefs that she was good enough to do the work that she is now doing, and that is creating courses for parents to empower their children, really understanding their brain, but at the level that small children need, but empowering the parents, empowering the children. Again, I'll let you read her beautiful words there. You don't need to read those out, but it's just such a joy to have witnessed these women's journeys, to come into like the first round of More Than Enough, and 1 year, 18 months later, seeing them starting their businesses, their coaching businesses, and absolutely smash it. Like, not just starting it, like absolutely smashing it and achieving so much success because they've done the mindset work. They've changed those patterns in their subconscious mind using the More Than Enough method. They believe that they're worthy. They believe that they can be successful. They believe that they're capable, and they know that they're enough. And so, yeah, so much joy. I really recommend that you give these women, Claudine, Claire and Kate, a follow on Instagram if you don't already follow them, because you'll get to witness the kind of lives and the kind of work that they are leading and doing. Utter, just such an honor. Such an honor. So those are my 3 myths. Let me know which of them resonated the most with you and for you. And we're going to move into my little invitation now. For those of you that aren't already in the Training Academy, it's so lovely to have so many of you here this evening. Those of you that are curious about a career change but are feeling nervous because those myths you can really relate to, your subconscious patterning currently is more sabotaging you than serving you, and so it can feel like a really daunting process. And so this is why I've put together the More Than Enough Training Academy in exactly the way that I have, through my, at the time, had 11 years experience. I've now got 12 years experience of really witnessing what goes on in the wellness world, and to help you not to prevent you guys from making the same mistakes that I've had. I've made all the expensive mistakes to really stop you from making the same mistakes too, because I want to share all my lessons and learns. I want to make it easy for women, talented, resourceful, capable women and humans to come and train and get the work out into the world as quick as possible without having to try and figure out all of the little bits and pieces that are actually very straightforward when you know. So this is why the Training Academy looks like it does, because I've designed it intentionally to help resourceful, talented people go and train in their modality, but then also run a business so that they get a fast start. Much of my proposition you will see is done for you so that you can just get going. And all in all, what we want to do as a community is really share these tools of the subconscious transformation of the brain-based coaching to enable our clients and our communities to flip the script on their inner critic. You might know that as negative narrative if you're not familiar with the inner critic, so that you begin to believe that anything's possible with the right mindset. So we're doing this mindset work at the deep, lasting, impactful level of the subconscious mind. And so stop wasting years on unnecessary training. Stop wasting time trying to figure it all out by yourselves. I've got a quick, easy offer for you to start an impactful, profitable coaching business. Yes. So let me invite you into the world and see how this lands with you. See if it gives you a tingle. See if it's making you feel fizzy in your tummy. If it is, then do get in contact with me and I can take you through this at a much deeper level. So this is very top level. What the More Than Enough system currently looks like is an 8-step system. We use a combination of masterclasses, coaching calls, subconscious transformation MP3s, a very thorough playbook, which is like I'm just updating for the new edition, which is chunky and becomes like a real kind of Bible for the experience. And we bring in experts every time. It's a fun, packed, like nothing else on this planet experience, because I do my courses differently. It is not just simply an online course, and I want to make it really adaptable, so this could be run in person, it could be adapted for retreats, it could be adapted for one-day events. So anyone that's around on the 14th of May, coming to my More Than Enough experience, you'll see how I take the tools, how I take the theories and make it into a really festival vibed day as well. And all in all, we're really teaching the mind shifting, flip the script system so we can break down all blocks to our clients' self belief. Like, wouldn't the world be such a different place if people believed in themselves and believed in their inner power and understood all the obstacles that got in their way and why the brain does the weird and wonderful things that it does? But then we are also able to have that emotional intelligence to be able to transcend above those biochemical responses so that we're staying in our own lane, not people pleasing, getting stuck in comparisons, struggling with anxiety. Yeah. Well, peace, I think, would be the final outcome if everybody went through the more than enough method. Oh, yeah. And the women, thank you, Sharon, for reminding me, like, the special thing about the more than enough movement is the incredible people that are attracted into the program. Everybody is very like-minded. They are so supportive, so non-judgmental. And when they come into the 10-week program and the training academy, there's a real safe space to practice being yourself that we don't get that opportunity to very often tap into in our real lives. We already have preconceived ideas and labels and status, and we get to practice this new look us in the space and try it on for size, almost like, oh yeah, that feels good. Oh, not so good. I'll take that coat off. And we get to try on this new identity that we're developing, that is more built from a foundation of self-belief and self-esteem rather than not enoughness. So yeah, it's a very interesting journey to witness as the facilitator and coach that holds that space. So the more than enough, it's this 10-week transformational adventure where the essence is that we're flipping the script and the negative narrative to help our clients rebuild the confidence that they can bravely believe they can achieve anything they set their mind to. And where my course is different as well, I've mentioned a few times, is about the conscious mind. Many courses focus on that 4% conscious mind. We attack our change work from 4 different levels: the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, the physical body. We store so much emotional energy in the physical form, and our energy field as well. So we really clear people's energy for them. So it's a 4-pronged approach, and that's what gives it the absolutely transformational benefits that it does as well, because no one size fits all, and many courses or many experiences, many transformational modalities might focus on 1, perhaps 2 of these, but we cover all 4, and that's why the results are so dramatic. So the offer is on the table. We have the next round of the More Than Enough Training Academy opening up, starting at the end of the month. Can you believe it? That last week of April is the very welcome week, and then we get stuck into the learning adventure in the start of May, and there's still space for people to come and join that journey with Sharon, with Catherine. Who else have we got on the call? Karen, that's from Florida. Join the journey with us, because it will be like no other experience you've ever been on. And like I say, there is so much demand for this work, and my vision is to have a more than enough coach, a more than enough facilitator in every single town. And I want it to be iconic. Like, I used to work for the world's biggest brands, as I've mentioned, so I've got a real taste of what it's like to work for something that's so recognizable. And I want to develop the More Than Enough brand into the most recognized self-esteem brand on the globe, so that, a bit like hypnobirthing. Once upon a time when I was a hypnobirthing teacher, everyone was like, hypnobirthing, what? But now, midwives are trained in hypnobirthing. There's dozens of hypnobirthing teachers in every town. And I want that to be the same. And, that's just for pregnancy. That's just for one little niche of the market. That I want this, our brand, the desire, the vision is to be just global, and everybody recognizes it as the brand that is ethical, safe, competent, confident, well managed to look after their emotional growth and their personal development. Oh, get excited. I get so excited when I talk about that big vision, because we get to do it together as well as a community. So what does it look like in the training that I have on offer. It is currently all online. We do have some occasional once or twice a year opportunities to meet up. This year we did a vision ignition day at the start of the year. But in essence, what it looks like, the first part of becoming a more than enough coach and facilitator is there's 12 weekly masterclasses, followed up by 12 weekly coaching and live lessons, which you then get an assessment on. I provide you, so that's the training. Then I provide you with all of the assets, because this is what I'm keen on doing, is giving people a brand, giving people a done for them solution so that they can just get out there and do the coaching, get out there and do the facilitating, get out there and do the transformational work without having to fanny around and faff about on Canva for days, weeks, and months. I call it procrastinator branding, where we just get stuck into all of these things, which are beautiful and lovely, but make no impact to your ability to create transformation. And that's what most trainees want. They want to get out there and do the work, but they spend years trying to do all this other stuff. So it's an absolute business in a box. You get to use all of my assets as a more than enough practitioner. You get to use the slides that I've created, the lesson plans, the evidence-based lesson notes, the slide decks. What does that say under there? I can't see what one says under there. Whoopsie, gone one too far. All the templates and documents, like for onboarding, that I use. See what that says. What's that middle one there? Oh, my hypnotherapy change scripts. So you get to use all these assets that have been created and made for you. I'm going to whiz through this now because I'm getting close to the 60 minutes, aren't I? So those 12 weeks, again, I'll let you read the portals. Everything is evidence-based, science-based, and I will teach you the science behind it all, the tools and the techniques, and then you get to see how the More Than Enough method has been created by blending these 12 portals of knowledge together into a firecracking experience. So I've tried to think about everything when it comes to the More Than Enough Training Academy. It's far more than just 12 weeks training. Having support throughout your journey really accelerates the way that you are able to grow into being a business owner and a coach and a facilitator yourself, like being able to tap into somebody else's experience. What would you do about this? So I've got this tricky client here who's got this problem here. How would you support that? Well, how do I do this in my business? Like, I want to hold your hand and make it easy for you, because I've got this 12 years experience. If I don't know the answer, I've got such a massive network that I can always find the answer as well. I want to make the branding a no-brainer for you. It's actually the old branding there. We've had a rebrand since. So that's all done for you. You know, you get access to all of my logos, all of the colorways, all of the Canva stuff, so that you can just get started without fiddling around for months and months and months yourself. There's an opportunity, even if you aren't practicing as a coach, you can become a affiliate and make cash back basically on just promoting the More Than Enough core products. There's a More Than Enough range of incredible t-shirts, and there is more in the pipeline. It's a bit of a pipe dream, but there is more merchandise coming. We have the gorgeous playbooks and the t-shirts currently, but there will be more coming. And because I am so well connected in the wellness world via my festival, like, I just cannot get enough, there will always be the freshest, newest evidence-based modalities being incorporated and updated and changed. And so we have a wellness pack of 12 different practical techniques that you can use, and that will be ever expanding and growing now. And what I'm really keen to do is support the facilitators and coaches to take the methodology of the More Than Enough experience and be able to adapt it to suit the industry that they desire to work in. And you don't have to have a niche, you don't have to want to do that. But for some people that came in into last round, some wanted to go into academia, some wanted to go into corporate, some wanted to go into, like Claudine, body confidence, or supporting parents or pregnancy. And I do have that business acumen to be able to help you pitch at those different levels, to be able to help you adapt the method, because it's not a one size fits all. I teach you how to teach the method, and then you can take the bits that work for you, because you might know an industry far better than I and know the language, how it works. So you get to tailor it to suit your needs. Or you can run it as the pure more than enough, exactly as I set out, to get you started. And then you begin to niche and tailor and bespoke it up a little more later down the line. It's very flexible, is the point that I'm trying to get across, to suit everyone's needs. Having been a hypnobirthing teacher where they were very inflexible with the way that we were allowed to use materials once upon a time, I know that when you're a business owner and you are creative and you are inspired and you want to share your message, that you need the flexibility to make it work for you in the way that you desire. So I am flexible and available to support you in helping use the different elements in different ways. And what I love, as I've mentioned, is in-person, real-life events. It's really where my passion is at. Been forced onto online because of the pandemic, and I've realised actually how much freedom that offers. But here, something that is truly unique about the More Than Enough method is I give my trainees, my coaches, the women, the people in my world, the opportunity to come and present and take part in my event. I want these events to be, the flagship opportunities for us to shout about the More Than Enough movement. So I will teach you how to run events. I will teach you how to get people to come to events, because it's far trickier than it actually looks, and share all my event experience with you as well, because I think the More Than Enough method lends itself beautifully to retreats, to weekend retreats, to day retreats, to more conference days, to mini festivals. There is so many beautiful elements to it, and I'd love to see More Than Enough events, across the UK, and if not the bloody globe. That would just be a dream come true, to have these gatherings of like-minded humans meeting on a regular basis and really doing that core inner work that's going to transform their lives. So much more powerful in person. I could talk about events all day, but I'm not gonna. I'm gonna move on. So to outline the More Than Enough proposition for the Training Academy, it's very different to most. That the facilitator training takes place, as we've just covered in the earlier slide, because it gets started in May. It's a 1-hour masterclass. It's a 1-hour coaching call, and you will need about an hour a week for further study in order to complete your assessments. So it looks like, for time budgets, 3 hours a week for 12 weeks. It says 14 there because that's the last time we had 2 implementation weeks, which we don't have this time, because I want to get finished before the summer holidays, so that we can all have August off. So the facilitator training, you need about 3 hours per week. Then what I've noticed happening in the industry is that incredibly talented women would have all these resources, like learn all these modalities, but then really struggle with the confidence to take it out into the world. So what I have built into our unique proposition is full supervision of your first round of More Than Enough. So as a cohort, you deliver the More Than Enough program to your first paying clients, and support you to get your first paying clients, because that's obviously can be a big block for people, like, how do I start charging and how do I start earning my worth? So I hold your hand through that process, so that you get that first round that's really confidence building out, with the support of your sisterhood, or with the support of the community, with my support holding your hand. I learned a lot from doing this last time that's going to be completely changed for next time. So you get that real life experience of coaching whilst also being coached yourself. So it feels like a safety net. It feels like scaffolding around you. And then by the time that you've qualified and graduated, you've got that under your belt. Then we also offer something called the Simple Soulful Business School, it's now called, which runs as the third part, because it's all very well and good training to be a coach and a facilitator, but unless you can know how to build an audience and get clients and have a message and build social media, that's a big piece of the puzzle. It's a massive piece of the puzzle to be able to understand the marketing and sales landscape, and that's my speciality. It's my corporate world. It's what I've been doing for the last 12 years, and with great success. That's how I run my business. So I share all my secrets of the things that I do and how I do them, and the strategies behind it all in that module too. So you get the the real science, evidence-based facilitator training experience. You get that. Then you get a live experience of being a coach and a facilitator, being surrounded by support and other people that are in the same boat as you. And then we move into actually teaching you how to get this work out into the world so that you can create an impactful, positive, profitable business as well. So it's like a proposition like no other, as well as the opportunity to come and take part in my events, retreats, and experiences. I think that's what makes it really, really special, because there's always something fun and exciting going on. We attract the most fun people because of that. So we are running over 60 minutes, but before we go any further, I would just love to invite you to just take a moment and just close those eyes and allow some of the messages, some of the ideas and propositions and invitations to just percolate through now. And by just closing our eyes for a moment, maybe just focusing on the breath, taking a slow intake of breath in through the nose, breathing out very slowly and gradually, just really settling the nervous system down now after my high voltage presentation. But just allowing yourself to imagine what it feels like to open up your inbox and receive a testimonial from a client who's completely changed their life. They're looking at life through different lenses now, really owning their self-worth and making big, bold, beautiful decisions about the kind of life that they wish to lead. I wonder if you can imagine what it feels like to be so excited about your business that you jump out of bed in the morning, like literally shouting yippee. When you look at your diary, you're excited about the people that you get to talk to, the masterclasses you get to create, the events that you get to go to. I wonder if you can get that sense. And perhaps for you, that taste of freedom, moving away maybe from a 9 to 5 more corporate-based job into a business that offers you complete freedom for you to choose your hours. Perhaps you're a night owl and you like working late at night and sleeping in the morning, or you want to be more available for kids during holiday times, or perhaps like me, you have a desire to take your laptop and just work from anywhere. When in my new position, I'm not parenting, being able to just jump on a plane and go away for a few days and know that I can still coach, I can still earn money, I can still do my promotions from an airport, from a beach, from a bar, wherever I desire. Perhaps you just want to take control of your financial future, and rather than somebody telling you what you are worth and paying you a salary, you really want to take control of that financial future destiny. I wonder what it would feel like to be the creator of something so new and so exciting. It just fills you with joy. You get that little tingle every time you think about helping people reactivate their enoughness on a global scale. And so opening those eyes now and just feeling into whether this feels like a good opportunity for you to feel fully supported, to join a community or doing this work together, to be part, because we're so new, so fresh, there's so much opportunity as this organization grows for to get involved on a deeper level as well. And so what does the proposition look like? Let's get down to the nitty-gritty of the investment levels, because I'm sure that's the question on the top of everybody's tongues. So let's have a little breakdown of what's included in the package price. There is the 14 weeks. I'm going to change that. It's actually 12 weeks because of the summer holidays. There's no integration weeks in this particular round. Of the More Than Enough training, which is valued at £2,400. This is literally me teaching you how to create transformations at the level of the subconscious. Then there's the 8 weeks of supervision, so that you are fully held and supported during that first facilitation of your first round of the More Than Enough method. That's a value of £1,200. And then moving into the business training school as well, where I teach you all of my secrets. And trust me, I have invested way more than all of these figures in gathering my knowledge and experience to be able to share with you. The price of all of the resources that have been done for you, so being able to use all of my materials and my assets, again, having logos designed, having colorways, branding put together. I have spent years and thousands on getting these assets all together. So it's all done for you. Um, just having the coaching support in the Facebook group as well. We do laser coaching in that space, so you've always got a port of call and someone to answer your queries. That's way higher value than £600. It's pretty much priceless. And I do require everybody that wants to become a facilitator / coach in using the more than enough method to also have been through their own more than enough experience, so that they can experience that subconscious transformation themselves. So my courses, currently the early bird price for this, and I'm really reassessing all of my pricing at the moment, is £1,111. So you get that included in your package, your own 10-week experience of doing your own personal transformational work. Now, you can see this is my offer price of £4,444 for this entire bundle. The total value of it is much closer to 10,000. And what I have realized over the course of running this very first year is how underpriced this is. This is currently the 2021 price, rolled it into 2022, but it's going to be the last time I offer this at that price, given that I have aspirations to be more supported, so I can free myself up to be in the zone of genius more often, and the level of investment will never be this low again. So please, if you are tempted, now is the time to get the best level of investment as well. This is basically representing 12 months of coaching. So that's for 12 months of training, 12 months of building you a new business, training you up for a new career, and supporting you and your mindset and your confidence and your self-worth. So the emotional work that goes alongside the very practical work for a whole entire year. It's a 12-month transformational experience. And now, to put this into context, what I am teaching you to do is to create your own more than enough online experience or event. And to put it into context, my recommended price for that 10-week experience is £1,111. So in order to get a return on your investment, at a very minimum, you just need to sell 4 courses, invite 4 people into your world, and you've recovered your return on that investment. So I hope that kind of puts it into perspective for you. There are, of course, always payment plans available, because I know not everybody has that money stashed away. If you do, of course, paying in full is always welcome. If not, payment plans are fully negotiable as well. So if this is lighting you up and you're feeling all a little bit excited, I would really recommend that you book a call with me and we can discuss your suitability for the training academy. I have a giant vision, and I want the best people working alongside me. My vision is to train coaches and facilitators to be even better than me at providing a level of transformation. We're only just moving into year 2. Year 1 was the deepest learning professional journey of my life. I have learned so much. I've put so many improvements in place of really tweaking and changing and upgrading the systems and upgrading my vision too, because I want to be the #1 self-worth brand in the world. So things and the opportunities that I'm currently focused on is training the coaches, but also training the trainers to help me with the training work as well. As you will see, Claudine has moved into really helping me with the assessment side. We've got very thorough, very rigorous assessment, because I wanted to make sure that I've got the most competent and confident coaches going out there representing the More Than Enough brand that feel always fully supported. They're not trying to figure this out by themselves. They've always got someone that's a few steps ahead of them to help and support them. I'm currently building the support team. Had a few little setbacks with that, but good news is that it's all looking very positive moving forward, because I want to free myself up to be operating more in my zone of genius, and that is being the face of the More Than Enough brand, going out, doing the PR work, doing the networking, the schmoozing, the events, and feeding that all back into your businesses. So, that's the way I see my role. Not as sure exactly when I'll be able to move into that, but at some point in the future, which means I need people to step up and do the training for me. It means I need facilitators and coaches to run my 10-week experiences for me. So there'll be many opportunities to grow with the organization. We are at the very starting stages of creating the More Than Enough Foundation as well, which is to help others access our skills and the experiences that might not necessarily usually be in a position to help that. We want to really have an essence of giving back. And my big vision is to create this global community. Like, I would love to find some coaches and facilitators in other countries. So if you know anybody that's on this journey that would be tempted, that is outside of the UK, send them my way. Indeed. The merchandise expansion is definitely work in progress. There'll be all kinds of different More Than Enough merchandise. We're creating the website and a directory which you'll be featured on as well, so you don't even need to go to the effort of having your own website. If you want to just sit under the More Than Enough umbrella, we will direct customers to you via our website. We've got more advanced practitioner training, which is based on hypnotherapy and psychotherapy, coming in 2023. The big vision is this #1 self-worth brand in the world. Woo! Great news as well. I just want to celebrate this. I meant to put it on the slide, but today I received as well our first accreditation. So we are now officially recognised as an approved executive training provider by the International Practitioners of Holistic Medicine, which has been a massive milestone to achieve today. So it was great timing to get that little email. So, my loves, I hope that you've smashed and bust through 3 of those myths that tend to get in the way of people saying yes to a life full of freedom, financially, lifestyle, and emotionally. And as we now approach the end of our bit over an hour, wasn't it? Oops, you got 3 choices, and so you can carry on in the place of overwhelm and underwhelm and struggle and trying to figure it all out by yourself. Or you can try and figure it all out by yourself. Think this sounds good, and I can take the Naomi path and spend the next decade trying to work this all out by myself. Or you can take the leap, which feels like a no-brainer for look with 12 years perspective, and the level of investment that I'm asking currently, to come and join the More Than Enough movement and do this feeling fully supported by peers, by people that are one step ahead of you, and know that you'll never ever be alone trying to figure out anything. We'll always be there holding your hand. So those are the 3 choices. If you are the first person who's been on this call or watches on replay to say yes to joining the training academy, then I am offering a fast action bonus as well to receive a personal mentorship with me as a bit of a bonus. That's going to include 3 one-to-one calls and Voxer access when you are getting ready to launch your business. So when that real challenging stage of how do I do this? What do I do that? What do you think about this? I'm really struggling with my mindset around pricing, Naomi, like really being able to have me in your pocket for that 6 weeks of getting your business out there is a bit of a bonus that I'm offering just for this masterclass. So whoever's watched this live or on replay and you are the first to say yes to join us at the end of April, then you receive that bonus. Now, if you're just even a tiny bit tempted, like maybe you're thinking, oh, is this for me? Am I good enough? That'll be the narrative. Could I do this? Am I smart enough? Am I qualified enough? All the not enoughness, they'll all be coming up right now because the inner critic, the negative narrative, does not want you to break its patterns. It does not want you to change. It does not want you to shift. So allow me to coach you and support you on a call so that we can both figure out together whether this is a good fit for both of us. I only want people in the training academy who I know are going to do this work justice. This is my life's work that I've put together, and I want people that are enthusiastic, passionate, full of integrity, that are willing to do the inner work as well as pass the assessments that enables them to have a much more resilient mindset as well. So I would love to have that discussion with you so that we can both establish it's a 2-way conversation, whether it's a right fit for you and whether it's a right fit for the More Than Enough Academy with what you're going to bring to the space full of opportunity as well. And the best way to do that is naominewland.com/call. Book a call in my diary and we'll have a half-hour chat, 15-minute chat about what the next best steps for you, with absolutely no obligations or pressures from me. And I'm just going to come back to this slide and just remind you, I forgot to put a date on here. This price will be increasing at the end of April. So this price is just for this round, which is starting in April. It will be significantly larger investment moving forwards. I have, with a year of it under my belt now, now I can price it accurately and understand the level of transformation that I'm able to support you in creating in your own lives, and how that needs to be priced more responsibly to enable me to grow a global business that's going to support you. So thank you so much. I hope that by busting those 3 myths of the perfect unicorn and putting people on a pedestal, not feeling as worthy, and understanding where your not enoughness comes from, that it's just a narrative of the subconscious trying to keep you safe and small, because that's the autopilot that has had decades of conditioning, and really understanding that needing to have everything figured out before you say yes is the biggest block, because that will rob years of your freedom away from you. It took me a decade. If I had somebody giving me a blueprint, a step-by-step process, a sisterhood of holding my hand and telling me exactly what I needed to do when I needed to do it, like, oh my gosh, like I wish I'd said yes to this kind of opportunity. Not that it existed, that's why I've created it in exactly the format that I have, but I wish that I'd had this kind of turbo boost, this acceleration to get me a much faster start. But I've recognized the problem now, and here is the solution, and I'm very, very excited to share it all with you. So thank you for those that have joined live. If you watched on replay, give me a holler, let me know, book a call, how you found it, drop me an email, naomi@naominewland.com. I'd love to hear from you. I'm blessed to have your time and attention. Thank you so much. Come away from messages to better read a slide, and so I've just missed some of your 4 minutes left. Sorry, Sharon. Yeah, I took my eye off the clock. I've gone a bit over, haven't I? When can you get your t-shirt, Catherine? Ooh. And you've seen, Catherine, yes, we are accredited now, fully accredited, absolutely buzzing, Karen. So excited. Thank you, Anne, for joining us. Let us know if those tingles translate into next best steps. Subconscious mind work always makes a massive difference. The community is absolutely like nothing else I've ever witnessed in a coaching space. We just do attract the most amazing people. So if you'd like to know more about this untapped opportunity to help ordinary people lead extraordinary lives, I would love to tell you more. Thank you, darlings. I hope to see you all on a call very soon. Good night. Happy Easter for those of you that are watching live. Go off and enjoy your beautiful bank holiday weekends. Coming. Absolutely buzzing, Sharon. Karen, I can't wait for you to start. Oh, I'm going to go now because I've run so over. But thank you, darlings. Thank you.